Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Two husbands' perspectives on their first time apart from their Filipina wives. Today's video is about how I handled being without my Filipina wife for the first time in 3 years of marriage. Sure, it was only 15 days, but that's 15 days more than I would prefer. In addition, I would suggest that you go to the channel Phls to Phoenix, where John experienced something similar with his Filipina wife, Cindy. Two Fil-am husbands and two perspectives. I'll make it easy for you and link their channel in the description box, as well as an end screen after this video. My wife had some business to take care of in the Philippines in January, and there really wasn't any reason that I would have to go with her, since we're going to be going later in the year together anyway. And I was curious, of course, how it will go, and I will let you know, and perhaps you can even relate to this. Leave a comment if you don't mind. If you can relate to your first time apart from your Filipina, please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea to learn about marriage to a Filipina from my perspective, and I want to be helpful to other men who are interested in a Filipina or who are already married to one. Don't forget to get notifications for upcoming videos. About the time my wife and I were apart, the Phls to Phoenix couple experienced something very similar. It was a learning experience for them, and I hope you will check it out and see how our experiences compared. I was able to work more on this channel with this, time away from my wife in the Philippines. However, that was about the only benefit that I can think of. Here are some things that were very difficult for me while she was in the Philippines for 15 days, our first time apart in 3 years. For one thing, I missed talking to her in person. Chatting on Skype is necessary while, doing a dating and a very long distance relationship. And, I actually thought that it would be reminiscent of those early days in our relationship back in 2015, but it really wasn't at all. Of course, in those days it was 4 hours or more of getting to know each other. In this instance, though, of being apart for 15 days, it wasn't anywhere near that because my wife was so busy. I actually didn't know she was going to be as busy as she was. Maybe we talked about it, but I don't remember. But it definitely was a letdown not having her around like I had kind of always taken for granted. Another thing, I missed messaging with her. When you're on the run, messaging is usually the way to communicate, but we didn't do a whole lot of that. Messaging with her has always been difficult at times for me to know her mood when she types a message. Sometimes I wonder if she's upset with me. Again, that's this whole thing was my fault for expecting it to be like the old days. She was very busy, and I understand that now. And while some messages are nice, I would prefer face-to-face. But you know how internet connection can be in the Philippines, which is frustrating. I had just thought back to those early days and thought, well, this will be kind of like we're apart for the in those days, and getting together and talking, and it'll be great. And in those days we had the time to spend 4 hours or more getting to know each other. In this case, we have spent 3 years getting to know each other, and I don't think it was quite as important to her to be communicating as much as I wanted to. And again, that's something we didn't really discuss before she left, was how much we were going to communicate. I kind of assumed one thing, and I think she kind of assumed something else. And of course, I missed just being with my wife. I missed having her near me to eat with, to watch a movie, lay in bed relaxing, sometimes do a video chat with her family, just asking her how her day was. While she was gone, I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, so she was, as they say, conspicuous by her absence. I never want to get accustomed to or comfortable being without her. That's just me. I sure was glad when those 15 days finally came to an end. I also missed holding her, If we couldn't communicate as much, it was even worse not being able to hold my wife, snuggle up to her to stay warm at night. I actually think a lot can be conveyed simply through touch, and it certainly is a form of communication, and it just feels good. I make it seem like it was 8 weeks without her, and it was only 15 days, but it was the first time I would come home from work, be alone, go to bed alone since we got married. It was necessary, but I wasn't looking for some time without her. It just had to happen. She also didn't have a lot of time to talk. After she got back is when I realized that, while she was there, how busy she needed to be. And when she was not exhausted and relaxing from that, well, she was, of course, around her family and friends. So I had to tell myself that it was understandable if she used a lot of the small amount of time she had left to be with her family, and I don't begrudge her that. I was just frustrated, and I do think, that I was being a little unreasonable. Could we have talked more? I'm not really sure if we could have. In my morning here in the States, it was relatively late where she was, and she was probably exhausted. In my evening, it was her morning, and I realized, she had a lot of things to get ready for, and was feeling pressure to keep moving and get everything done that she was there to do, not to mention, throw in some time to communicate with me. So it made me realize how important she was to me. I knew she was important to me, but as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't like going places without her now. I prefer she be with me. When I was single, I felt like I didn't really want to do anything or go anywhere without a girlfriend. I'd rather just stay at home, and I did a lot of that because I couldn't find a girlfriend. I also missed the food that she would prepare. I must have eaten pretty much the same thing every day. She packs the food that I eat at work, so I couldn't even send her a quick thank you message for that like I usually do. So also what I learned, I definitely don't want to be apart from her for 2 weeks again. There might be some emergencies that come up, and this recent separation was for a specific purpose where I didn't need to be there. I am looking forward to the day that we can retire in the Philippines and be together every day without having, to go to our jobs. Phils to Phoenix had intended for a much longer time apart, several months or more, but go ahead and click on the link at the end of this video and in the description box to learn his thoughts on how their first time apart went. I would not be able to, spend, months apart from my wife, that's for sure. Just because I was alone for a long, long time, you can see that in some of my other videos, does not mean I can just revert back to those days, because those days were very difficult, challenging times for me. 15 days was enough. At least in my case, I am used to her company. And since I don't really have any guy friends I get together with, I'm sure I overreacted a few times that I wanted to talk to her, just wanting to do more of it. So I found marrying a Filipina to be a wonderful experience, but 15 days was not a good thing to be without my love beyond the sea.